liquidity, where you find out how not to be fucking exit liquidity.
All right. Exit liquidity. That's the name of the podcast, by the way. I didn't even say it.
I like that.
Do you know Hard Rock Nick?
Yeah.
That one guy that everyone
the
got.
guy that does like the video cameos, right?
Yeah. I actually got him to do it. That's gonna be the intro to this video. If you haven't seen it,
I would love to see it.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, episode 7. Yeah. What's up, Josh?
Dude,
how's
not
life,
much, man? I'm chilling. I've been actually recently stepped away from crypto quite a bit. I noticed for a while it took up a lot of my headspace in not the healthiest way. Like, I wasn't being productive in my trades and education and research. I found myself staring at a lot of charts, which told me like I was pretty burnt out and like I need to step away from a bit. I'm still connected through my job, which I can't touch on too much, but
what kind of stuff were you trading?
Mainly
like coin
Solana
or
NFTs. And when the NFT market slowed down, it would be a little more coins. But recently, it's been nothing. I've just been AFK and holding Liquid Soul and USDC and a couple T's that I'm somewhat confident in, and then one that I'm trying to. On Twitter? It's a Crypto Duck Punk. It's a rug project, but it's a nice little pixel PFP, which is funny because yeah, there's a ton of rugging that happens in the NFT space. But that was
I actually
my
have one
intro
of those
to Solana.
fractures. Really? That one?
The Soul Gods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like it?
I got it randomly. Like, I was like, I didn't have a PFP, and I really liked the fucking D-Gods, one of theirs.
Nice.
And so then I was like, I can't afford any Ethereum ones. Like, any of the good ones are like insanely overpriced. And so I was just browsing yeah. And browsing through like Solana, and I saw them and I was like, dude, this thing is sick. And I just bought it. And then after that, like the whole like movement that they had, I don't know if you saw that, like what they were doing with transitioning to gods, and
yeah, I did.
They were doing a bunch of stuff with like bonks and like bunch of shit. And
I made a
like
little bit of money on Bonk. It was fun.
Yeah,
nice little free airdrop. Yeah, it was like
you were here for that.
Dude, I was
airdropped
like $200 worth USD worth of bonk, and I sold it I think, like same day. And I think 4 days later, it would have shot up to $2,000 or something ridiculous.
Holy
if
shit.
I had just held it, it did a multiple. It was like a 5 or a 10x from when I got the airdrop, and I just sold it so early.
Yeah.
As is the story, because I didn't know the narrative, and I've discovered that like a lot of coins will not do well, but if a coin has a narrative that enough people can get behind, it raises the ceiling for how many people can be interested in it, which raises the price ceiling, which is how I've understood it. And it's actually been a little bit easier to read when the top is going to happen, is peak narrative, peak euphoria, peak greed, honestly. And
yeah.
Yeah. So it's
dude, I'm in the same space. Like, don't you feel like you've learned? Because I remember talking to you at that one tailgate or whatever it was at a College Park, and I was like shilling fucking Magic Internet money and like time rebasing.
Oh, I remember that. Dude,
do you remember
was my
that?
Intro to Ohm. That was my intro to Ohm.
Yeah.
Then I got burned. Yeah, I put like
so many like hardcore lessons from that, dude. Yeah. So many hardcore lessons. I feel like I've aged like insanely. I look at everything like pessimistically like nowadays.
Do you?
So I get what you mean, but I still have that touch of optimistic idea. But for instance, the reason I left like my last like crypto gig was because I'm like, at the end of the day, no regular person is gonna hold this token. It was like some really deep DeFi thing, yeah. And I'm like, no one is gonna do anything with this. No one's gonna hold XCal token. No normal person is gonna do that
unless they don't know they're holding the token.
Very true.
So,
what do you mean by that?
So, do you know Steppen? It was this app it was a Solana native. Yeah, so people could walk. You basically earn money from walking, and
yeah,
it's funny. I remember hearing the spaces where someone was like, "I walked up to this lady at the beach, and I asked her, hey, you know about Solana? I see you using Steppen,' and she's like, what's a Solana?' And I was like,
really?
Oh, this makes sense, dude. Like." Steppen.
Really?
So on Hello Moon tracked like the top volume projects and coins and everything. GST and GMT were consistently towards the top of the charts in terms of volume traded and just how much activity was happening on chain. And I find it so fucking hilarious. Can we curse?
Yeah.
I found it so hilarious that they didn't even know they were using a wallet. They didn't know they were using a blockchain. They just saw.
Really?
Yeah, they just saw. They might have had a clue with Coinbase, but they see USDC being withdrawn, and they're like, "Oh, I can spend this." They don't really fully understand it's crypto. They're just like, interface, very easy to use, so to speak, and I walk and I get paid. And it's simple, and people didn't have to interact with the wallet. The wallet was hosted on the app. It was integrated. It was like,
did you mess around with that?
I did. I used Steppen. It was like, dude, but for an onboarding tool, it was like a through and through product. And the beauty of it was that you didn't have to know anything about blockchain. There was no risk of you getting rugged. You don't have to remember your seed phrase, none of that bullshit. Like,
really?
You just download the app and play, dude. And that's ultimately where it's going. And I saw one tweet today that actually really put it into perspective for me. They were like, the Ethereum EVM has 329K active addresses over some, I think it was like a small time, maybe weekly or daily time frame or whatever. And in Web 2, that's a rounding error. And the point he was drawing from that was like, everything is up for grabs. There is no winner yet. No one is declared the winner because nobody uses fucking crypto. So if nobody is using it, then stop trying to declare a winner and fight for the pie. And which is a really nice perspective shift, because especially in Solana, which is a very passionate but very toxic community at times.
How did you enter that community?
Dude, like 1 or 2 years ago, Ollie told me, hey, buy some Solana. They do proof of history. Like, the tech is pretty cool. So I bought in at like $12. And I remember you kept texting me when it was pumping. It was like, Solana is now $127.50 United States cents or some shit. It was very...
Yeah.
But it was funny. And he kept doing that until the top towards 250. And I was like, holy shit. And so at the top, actually, or towards the top, Solana was like 220. And I was like, okay, I'm familiar with this chain. I'm familiar with how to make a wallet. I want to trade NFTs. I want to say that I've done that. So first of all, I was going into it for the wrong reason. But then I bought a rug project and I lost a soul. And I was like, I'm never touching this again.
You think it was like hard for you for that whole like doing the wallet? Did you have that like fear?
Because I had experience. I had experience doing it, having a wallet, and I did MetaMask, and I got burned on Ohm, but I knew like the process. And the number one thing I was researching was, am I gonna have to pay $50 in gas fees every time I make a transaction? And on Solana, that was not the case. On ETH, depending on when, it was the case. And so this is, mind you, this is like a year and a half ago. Yeah, Solana was just way more attractive to low liquidity, low capital user like myself. And I saw people.
The NFT part of that, like, when did you get involved in the NFT space? Because I feel like that's where you centered around the most.
So I saw Gary Vee launching VFriends, and I was curious about the NFT stuff, and I was like, dude, people are making bank doing this. Can I get in on these trades? And I started watching YouTube videos, which was a funnel to this dude's Discord, which was a funnel to, it was a paid Discord, so I paid a little bit. But I made my money back. He made like one call on a rug project that pumped. He didn't know it was going to rug at the time, but he called one project, and I was like, oh, I've already made my money back. It's easy to make money in Solana NFTs. And Solana was 150, 180, so it was a nice price. So I was like, oh, you can print doing this. And then not even a few months to a year later, we see an $8 Solana.
Yeah.
So overall, it's just really put into perspective for me, like how much things can fall from under you if you don't
during
really
that whole
fully
time,
understand what you're investing in.
Yeah, during that whole time, were you completely tied to Solana? You didn't venture out anywhere else?
I was a maxi because I got burned on Ohm and ETH gas fees. So I had a... Actually, that's not true. I was curious.
You never hopped on any of the
I was curious
L2s,
about Luna. No, because the
Luna, AVAX, Phantom.
It's such a naive understanding, but I was like, why do you need L2s if the L1 isn't scalable? Like, if the L1 isn't scalable, then I don't know. It's not bad. And Solana seemed more attractive in that respect. So I was just like, I was a soul maxi from there. And Solana motherfuckers made money until I realized that a lot of them are poor. And as such, it's a lower liquidity market, and when things get dry, it can be harder to make money because of that fact. Like a Solana NFT project that would pump like 5-10 SOL and it would be like, oh my god. But in ETH terms, that's not even 0.05 ETH. And that's when it really put it into perspective for me. Like, ETH not only is a more mature market, but the coin is more mature. Like, people, like, it's more secure. People understand it better, a little bit more. Whereas Solana was this kind of new kid on the block, and so
Did you
I
never
kinda sunk into that understanding as I got burned a little more. But yeah, what's up?
was it like a feeling of, because I feel like for me the reason I enjoy Solana or have started to enjoy it more is because it's like, it's, what's the word? It's not like an underdog, but it feels like there's something to prove there, and a lot of people are.
I love that.
Yeah,
actually, I love.
Is that what like you gravitated to?
I think
because
so,
for me, I feel like I gravitated to. It is a narrative in itself, and it is a little bit like It's pretty much. It's not total bullshit, but if you're using an L2, it's basically bullshit. The whole idea of decentralization and like all those. I bought into that aspect. Like that's what I connected with.
Sure.
And in the beginning, like I was like hating on every other. I just became like a full maxi, and then I was like, okay, people are making money. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna go make money. Especially with I saw Sol, obviously, saw Luna, saw like Phantom, AVAX, and I feel like I missed a ride on the coin on every single one. So I would go even deeper in the degeneracy on every single project. Go own forks, fucking anchor, and so. With Solana, I wasn't an NFT guy, did not like NFTs, and there wasn't that, or I hadn't seen that degeneracy that was like on the other projects, or I just never picked it up.
You didn't pick it up?
I just never picked it up.
I promise you it was there.
Like the DeFi degeneracy though.
What does that mean?
Like 1,000% APY, basically. That's on rebase tokens. I saw like a few of like own forks on Solana, but I don't know. It just never felt like to me it was like such a good chain. Like it felt like it didn't feel like as grimy as like something like Phantom or AVAX.
And now it feels snappy as fuck.
Yeah.
You make a transaction, you send something, like
it
feels like iOS. Like it feels pretty instant, but I remember when I first started using Sol, I'd spam the same transaction 12 times and it wouldn't go through. Or one transfer or one swap would take, I don't know, 20 seconds, 25 seconds, and now it's sub 2 seconds. Like it's 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 TPS. Like right now it's at 5,000 TPS. No problem.
Yeah.
So I've been impressed with the scalability, and I've never really questioned the security. So if you look at the Nakamoto coefficient for Sol, it's like one of the highest out there.
Explain the Nakamoto coefficient?
So it basically speaks on how many validators it would take to be corrupted, so to speak, to put a false transaction through. So the higher the number, the more decentralized it is, meaning the more independent users that are launching or staking their own Sol in different programs. And so the more diversity you have in that, the more secure it is part of the premise there. And that's what the Nakamoto coefficient reflects. So I thought that was a cool
Sol
stat.
is fully a proof of stake chain. Or is it
I think it uses proof of history. I'm like 99% sure it uses proof of history and proof of stake. Something like that. I'm not too familiar with the tech anymore. And I don't really care. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure it's doing the job, and I'm sure they're iterating, and I'm sure it's pretty secure. And I'm acknowledging the ignorance that comes with saying I'm sure there's that, but I haven't.
Me and Ollie basically call it like the nerd. That's like the nerd side of what's going on in the ecosystem. There's some shit that we just can't explain.
We're
not in that.
What has fascinated me though is less of the nerd stuff and more what people are attracted to. So, do you know Pudgy Penguins?
Yeah.
Have you seen their Instagram?
No.
It is fucking
not Instagram.
Fantastic.
Really?
I saw
Why?
I saw a tweet of this dude. First of all, go check it out. But second of all, I saw a tweet of this dude who screenshotted his text with like his high school boys, and someone sent a Pudgy Penguins meme in there. None of them are crypto bros at all. They're just like the average person that doesn't know anything about crypto. And he sent a crypto meme, and he didn't realize it. And if you look at the Pudgy Penguins Instagram, they are a masterclass in branding and making people relate to their product. And it's just so beautiful.
It's like the cute aspect.
Exactly. But it's memeable, and it's repeatable, and people care about it, even if you have nothing to do with Pudgy Penguins, ETH,
Wow, they've been
NFTs.
doing this for a while.
Like, everyone can use it. And look how many followers they have.
300-something thousand is nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And that's what has really caught my attention recently is...
So you were doing everything like solo starting off? You never were working with anybody?
Nah.
How was that navigating? Did you have like a crew of people, like in some?
I had what
I
I
can't
thought
believe you
was
don't have Telegram, honestly.
Yeah. I had a couple people that I traded with, but I did things on my own, and I don't know, I never really found a squad for trading. I found a couple groups, couple discords. The Soul Army Discord in Solana was my home base because I just got this free airdrop and it sold for 10K like within the first 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my god, like I got this for free, what a blessing. And it's been quite cool staying in that group, but at the end of the day, there's opportunity everywhere, and every day. Everywhere there is opportunity somewhere to make money, and it's really a question of, are you tuned in or are you tuned out of it? And I guess subconsciously I was more tuned out of it than I realized, because I didn't really partner with people. I didn't do my research. Like I had a little more.
How were you finding stuff? Just like solely Twitter?
No, mainly Discord. Twitter you can use to gauge how well something might do until like
by the time it's on Twitter, it's over.
But and as soon as like the Twitter botting meta came up, they could bot likes, they could bot followers. At first it wasn't meta, and it's why I say this. Once it became meta, it became a little bit more obscure which projects actually had hype and which ones didn't. And it's funny, there were all these whitelist grinds, and yeah, that shit was crazy. But I got a few good whitelists through the Soul Army, and it altered my relationship with money. I sold this OK Bear for like 16 grand.
Oh yeah, I remember you had that issue for a while.
I lost most of it. Yeah. And so that taught me a lot about capital preservation and being mindful of where you put your money and aggressively taking profits. So that was a good lesson for me to learn, as painful as it was.
God, those suck, man. Even like to this day, I feel like everyone does this. Most of the people in crypto, when you're like done your fucking day, you lay down in bed, you shut the phone off, and you're just staring at the ceiling. All of those bad trades come to mind. At least for me. Like I have those nights.
Over it. I don't lose sleep over any of them, but I
definitely do. I definitely do. Not every night. But like once a week, once a month, just really bad ones. Really bad ones. The thing is also that bothered me is like the reason me and Ollie sit here every week as much as we can talk about narratives is because, and why this show is called Exit Liquidity, is because I was exit liquidity for so many different things. It was like, it's like shameful that I couldn't map my head around like all of these things. Like I was getting played. I mean, I had good runs, good trades, and like good opportunities that you probably put on under a bucket of luck. Yeah. But I was also like never taking profits where I should, and like just always just being last one out that door. Yeah. I was never reading the top. And I think that NFT part of it, you really start to understand the marketing behind every single token, not just NFTs. And like actually observing that like top for anything.
Grifters because are salesmen.
Yes.
They're so good at their craft, but they can't execute for a dime.
Yeah.
Except for pre-mint. Everything it takes, and just with how rabid the Solana community has been throughout much of its history, a lot of rug projects sold out, and it is what it is.
Yeah. So you had OK Bears as I feel like a good chapter. What other like points were like pretty memorable in your run up until now?
Definitely that Soul Army airdrop. I got a Claynosaurus pre-sale. Do you know what Claynosaurs are? Claynosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah, they just had a new all-time high on the floor price.
Yeah, so I got access to that pre-sale for fucking 15 of them.
Shit.
So I bought the full allocation. I dumped everyone as soon as I got it, pretty much. I shared it with the friend, so I got 10, he got 5.
Yeah.
And it was a money printer for 3, 4, 8 weeks, however long, 5 weeks I think was how long the airdrop was. And then now I'm watching the floor price climb. Ugh.
Yeah.
You only need to sell 3 and I'd be at, 150 Sol in my wallet, but I sold 3 for 60 at the time because I was impatient, I wanted the money, and it wasn't a bad trade. I de-risked, but then I kept de-risking aggressively until I had nothing left, and I just had liquid Sol. Which, again, if you're optimizing for taking profit...
What's the price of Sol right now?
2079 currently.
Not bad.
So, by 50, it's what? 2 grand, maybe 800, 900 for a Clino right now, something like that, on the floor. So Definitely not terrible. And OK Bears are at 42 sold. It's just funny because I sold the fucking top at 190.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was like early on, which is funny too, because then and it led to my new rule because I double dipped and I bought another bear that I thought was a steal, and I was gonna get, it was a mid rare, and I'm gonna get a good price on the next pump. And it's funny, the next pump came, but Solana was worth less, and I wasn't willing to sell because I would not be in profit. So that would have only been like a 1,500 or $2,000 loss because it was like 11K I put into that next bear, and I was like, I'm a trader now. I know what I'm doing.
Holy
spending
shit,
this big bag, and it's because I didn't know how to manage that much amount of money, and it's energy. And for as long as I was in this place of being greedy and wanting more and double dipping,
it's
into
also
things
so
that I
weird. Like seeing like a coin logo versus you see it in the dollar terms in your wallet or whatever, but it does not feel like that kind of money. When you're doing it.
Like, it's magic internet money, dude. Like, this is what it feels. It's so abstracted.
You're just like, dude, this has got to work. This has got to work. And the next you're just fucking gone. You literally will at one point I was like, dude, did my fucking wallet just get hacked? Like, where the fuck did all of my money go? You just realize through your transactions, you just burn through so much shit doing massive amounts of stupid stuff and dumb trades that you shouldn't have done. And then you got into working for different projects?
No, so I actually only worked for one project, which I still work for, Hello Moon. So I'm a moderator there at the moment, / somewhat community lead, but mainly moderator stuff there. And it's been a good gig. Keeps me in touch with crypto and Web3, but outside of that, I've stepped away from it for the most part. Recently, I've really delved into pickleball, which has been super fun and interesting for me.
That's nice.
It's a great way to keep me active, and I know there's going to be a point where I'm going to want to come back and play in this market again, and either try to make money or collect shit I like.
You're not afraid that you're like going to miss something?
I'm always going to miss something.
No,
so
not like.
What do you mean?
Like the major things. The major things. I feel like I don't have a good envisionment of what the last bull run was because it was just so like euphoric, and I missed the first half of it.
Sure.
But from what I know in the Ethereum world, there were like a lot of different things and different narratives that people were talking about way before that happened, leading up to the whole fucking thing happening. And sometimes I would say I'm just as involved as I was, just without the quote-unquote job, but I'm still in this 24/7. Like, it's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like it's really bad, but I feel like I have that, not fear of missing out, but I just know that I'm putting in this time that like you feel like you have to hit on something. Something's got to hit. You can't be like missing it out if you were on like Discord and Twitter like for the past week, and then you watch something pump without you. It fucking sucks.
For the most part, what are you hearing about so massively, so obviously on Discord and Twitter for 1 or 2 weeks?
For instance,
and then it pumps?
Like have you heard of Berachain?
No.
Berachain is like this. Do you know Cosmos and Atom?
Heard of it? Yeah.
That world. They're building some kind of chain with Atom that's going to connect to Ethereum. It's called Berachain. They utilize NFTs on like a whole different level. They have 5 rebases of these bear NFTs. It's actually a really fun community. I think you would like it. It's like they're like really fucking cool. And they recently raised. It's like bear market, but they're like it's a cult. It's literally a cult. Like there's no tech, there's no DevNet, there's no testnet, there's nothing yet.
Okay.
They just announced like an open source code that they've released.
Okay.
And everyone's like anonymous, and they've been going since like August of last year. And they've had these NFTs, and nobody even knows what the NFTs will give you once the chain launches. But the assumption is if you want exposure to this new L1, then you hold that NFT. And so like it's on the fucking podcast. But like a few weeks back, I'm not putting a lot into crypto nowadays. And so I try to be sparse and make calculated small bets with what I do have in this world.
Yeah.
And I had like just under 1 ETH liquid. And the smallest rebase was at like 1 ETH. And I was like, dude, I got to catch this before they start announcing shit. And I knew it was going to happen. And they like, I missed it. I put a bid at 1 ETH. It was at like 1.14. Didn't get filled
through?
at 1 ETH. Didn't not get filled at 1 ETH.
What I pumped
and it pumped up 3 ETH the other day.
So that's what I asked myself a lot. Would you have sold the top, or would you have sold if your bid went?
I would have sold 2.
Would you have sold
my rule is double.
Okay, the rule is double.
My rule is double nowadays. Yeah, I can't live with it. And I've been telling.
What if you know it's not the ceiling?
I don't though. I can't. Like my financial situation right now, I have to take on every double.
Yeah.
Especially with the NFT game. Like I'm so new to it, but it's actually very fun. I'm so new to it that like I can't help but take on the doubles because it's too crazy for me. I'm too like, especially with NFTs, it's even more emotional than like regular altcoins are because it's the image, it's the community. Like you're like hearing shit the devs start saying. Even with the fracture. I was gonna. That was the only double I haven't taken recently because I just like the PFP, and I was like, "This is my image for my 6 followers that I just fucking want to keep."
Hell yeah, do it for you. At the end of the day, that's what this is about. When you're trying to chase pumps or chase narratives, you're a trader and you're a consumer, and that's the realization I ultimately came to. Was when I did all this trading. Is I was a consumer of the chain. I was a consumer of these different products. I'm not actually producing or creating anything. And when I saw that relationship with all of crypto, I did some internal work and realized I don't really want to create. I'm not a dev. I don't want to create apps. I don't want to market some NFT
you ever thought
project
about making
that's gonna rug
an NFT project.
Dude, the responsibility on that is just too crazy for me. Like it's not worth the hassle of. It's not worth it to me. I've seen people do it and get burned out. They have so much accountability to their fucking entitled shareholders. At least in Sol. On ETH, I believe it's a different vibe, but I haven't bought ETH NFTs ever. And actually, it's one thing I am curious about dabbling in, but if there is one NFT I want to buy...
You haven't used Blur?
No, but I know what it is.
Really? I feel like... I wonder how many Solana NFT traders actually...
I'm sure a good amount. Anyone that's a money maxi would have used Blur and just put bits on decent projects for that.
It's such a nice product.
Yeah,
it's such a nice. It's very nice to use.
They're building something similar right now on Sol called Tensor.trade, which is a pretty sick trading platform. I think they're going to do something similar with their airdrop mechanics, but even then, dude, like I also
really do like Magic Eden.
Magic Eden's great.
Yeah.
I just don't find myself excited about trading or making money in this way because, like, I'm sure I could if I put my energy towards it. But the last time I didn't have a healthy relationship with the space overall. Yeah, I was looking at Discord, refreshing Twitter 24/7, and whether or not I was making money almost felt irrelevant because, like, you're just consuming. And it's like. At its core, that didn't resonate with me. And to be clear, if I get to a point where I need the money and I don't have a job and this and that, and like I'm really stretched, like absolutely, I'll use this.
You don't think you would do it just for the? Oh, dude, I feel like I'm gonna stay a consumer in this world.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Consume whatever the hell you want. If there's a project you really want to be a part of, you like the PFP, whatever, have fun with it. And ultimately, those are the people that make the most money, anyways. It's the people that are having fun and actually like. Vibe with the projects that resonate with them, and I think that's really cool. But when you're in this trader and you're playing these announcements and this airdrop and this liquidity pool,
I mean it gets a little messy. But me and Ollie are just like on 15-minute volume on Blur, and if we like something, we'll throw 0.05 ETH at it or something.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, like it's very basic. Like we're not really whitelist farming. We're not like doing too much, but we also play like the other altcoin narratives and things like that. Well, and I know you said that you can't talk about your current job. Are you allowed to talk about the role at all?
No.
Like, no, not even the role. Like, not even your position name.
That's part of the NDA.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it? Can you even say what chain it's on?
Solana.
Solana. Okay. Yeah, I assumed.
Or Solana. Yeah.
I assumed, but I was like,
you're a Sol maxi, essentially.
Yeah.
But also a Bitcoin
how do you
maxi.
like it overall?
I think it's pretty cool, dude. I've gotten into a rhythm with my job. I like the people I work with. I like my boss. Chill gig. But
yeah.
Yeah, there's not too much I can go into in that regard, and it's not that interesting to hear if I were to talk about it. But
yeah, I'm just glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, dude. If you don't like what you're doing, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I remember you were talking to me about, like, you were trying to find someone. Your major was
business, ops management, business analytics.
Yeah, you were like looking for a TradFi job, and I was like, and I knew you were like still in Solana deeply, and I was like, dude, I hope this guy finds like a crypto job, does not do TradFi.
And crypto jobs aren't even all that. It really depends.
I mean, not all that, but it
really is where you go, because you can get a crypto job that pays decently for
I know you wouldn't
have for an NFT project, and they just rug
a
couple months.
But I feel like it would have been, obviously a rug is not more enjoyable than TradFi, but like the TradFi shit sucked. It drained me so much.
Really?
I hated it. Oh, dude, I hated it. I can't go back. That's like, I can't.
I'd rather more aligned. Go ahead.
I'd rather just fucking trade 15-minute blur volume.
Dude, if that's what you want to do, fucking send it, man. Do what you want to do at the end of the day. It's that simple.
Yeah. I'd rather, I couldn't do it. It fucking sucks so much. But yeah. How's life in general, though? Are you still...
Like I said, dude, I found pickleball, and I have been enjoying myself way more.
You're really pushing this pickleball narrative.
You describe it as a narrative.
How'd you get into pickleball?
You played tennis. Played hella tennis for a long time.
Yeah.
And then Ben Johns actually is the #1 pickleball player in the world right now.
Who's Ben John?
Ben Johns. So he went to UMD. He did club tennis. He studied mechanical engineering, and then he went back and worked with engineers at EULA to work on his own paddle, which was pretty cool.
Holy shit.
And I know this isn't like a pickleball thing, so I'll keep this pretty short. But basically...
Wow. It's more interesting than crypto nowadays.
But yeah, basically, I started playing. I got a membership at this gym which had a couple of nice pickleball courts, and I stuck around until I found some good players, and now I have a pretty decent squad that I'm trying to play with and link up with more.
I've seen a lot of people play like the tournaments. Like a lot of local tournaments happening. It's like picking up as like a sport, like that's gonna do like significant numbers. It's pretty entertaining to watch.
It's catching wild. Is it? I'm glad you say that, but why do you say that?
I haven't watched it. I don't tune in to any team specifically.
Sure.
But there was this one guy I watch on YouTube, and he just fucking plays pickleball sometimes, and it doesn't look like. I feel like it started out as an old person like retirement game, almost like wiffle ball.
The average
is
age
what
is getting
people
younger
think it
every
is.
year. Yeah,
and so it's I saw
right.
that transition, and I'm like, this is pretty cool because if you're nimble, you can make some crazy plays with it.
Correct, but also unlike tennis, where you have so much court to cover, even if you're playing doubles. Like pickleball, it's so approachable for almost all levels and all skill levels and most ages, which is in the boomer population playing so much pickleball, which is, first of all, it's incredible, but second of all, it is way less strain on the body than tennis because you have to cover way less court, but you still have to, if you're playing at the most athletic highest level you can, you should be pretty exhausted pretty consistently if you're playing it well, which is where the fun is, right? You can raise the bar for yourself, and it raises the bar for everyone around you.
Yeah.
Which I found a lot of fun in, and it keeps me in shape, dude. It keeps me sharp. It keeps me it's a lot like a chess match. The higher up you go, in the sense that your targets, you're choosing targets, you're choosing weak sides, you're choosing a player to pretty much abuse if you're playing doubles, and you're basically trying.
You play in
an
indoor court or outdoor?
Indoor.
It's
getting nice soon though, so I'm gonna be outside pretty soon.
Yeah,
which is why
I feel like the reason people aren't playing it here is because it's the shitty weather and there's no indoor facility. Yeah,
but the demand is crazy, and now I'm in a good position. Tennis, as a young player, and as somebody who's coached tennis for several years, to get into the pickleball scene if I desire. And there's definitely demand for people to play.
Have you ran into similar tournaments?
Demand for people to learn. Have I ran into what?
Any tournaments?
No, not yet, dude. I picked the sport up 3 weeks ago.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it's been like a while now.
Nah, middle of February. This is super recent.
Yeah,
but
that's good though.
Yeah, it's like
the crypto mind.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I didn't have that 24/7 FOMO. Like, as long as I'm a consumer of the space, I can't be angry that I'm not making enough money. You know what I mean?
I tweeted about this, but it's if you made it, like once you make it, are you still going to be on crypto Twitter?
If I want to.
Are you still going to be like, okay, for instance, the Ethereum community of people that are like the, I guess, not the higher ups, but like the people who obviously made millions and
Sure.
have a rug pulled from 2017 and like they show different projects and they're quote unquote angel investors nowadays.
Sure.
It's like those people have made it and they're still just on CT talking about this coin and that coin.
That's what they wanna do.
Like you think you'll be something, you think you'll end up going that route, or
No.
you just like ever angel investing? Or,
I'm not
really
interested like that. I'm not closing myself off to the opportunity, but it just doesn't excite me as much right now.
yeah. Does your job excite you?
Yeah. The
Yeah?
skill set I'm learning excites me because it's applicable to a million different industries and very supportive of me being an entrepreneur, which is even more exciting. The
So if
idea
you
that I
like
can
made
work my own
it,
hours.
if you made it and you had 100K on Twitter and like this specific project approached you for angel investing, it's something you're interested in.
Yeah.
Are you like getting involved for the further adoption of crypto and you want to support something that's gonna maybe be spread to the masses or something?
I mean, dude, if I have a position like that, if I made it on Twitter and I have 100K followers, that means I'm actually invested in crypto and like I care about what happens. And so you're presenting like a golden pretty much opportunity, something exciting that's gonna bring people in, adoption. If it's actually a good product, I'd consider investing. Obviously, I need more info, but yeah, if I'm in a position,
Yeah,
like
I'm
that,
just trying to gauge like whether or not you. Because for me, genuinely, I feel like I genuinely care for the spaces.
I do too. I want it to thrive.
Yeah.
I want it to succeed. I'm just not invested in the super micro of every little thing that's coming out and what's driving mass adoption next. When shit catches fire, you will know. I'll say that much. Step in,
Do you
caught
think you'll-
fire, and we knew.
Do you think you'll be back in that headspace you were?
No,
if the
I
next
hope not.
bull run?
Dude.
No,
I hope
you
not. Well, you asked, and will you be in that same headspace? Which implies a lot of the baggage that came with it, or like the perceptions that I had with it. And if I were to come back into this space, it would be with a revitalized perspective of what I want for.
But
the
in
space
terms
and
of
for
time
myself.
commitment,
Maybe it's
You
hard
think
to
so?
judge time commitment, but yeah, it's hard to judge, man. There could easily be a day where I just decide I'm obsessed with crypto again, but until that's the case, it's not the case, and I'm not going to try to force it. I hope everyone is building earnestly, and I trust that people are going to build better and better products, and eventually it'll reach a critical threshold where people are using crypto and don't even realize it. People are interacting with digital collectibles and don't realize it, and when that starts to become more prevalent, and I think we're seeing some of that now. Amazon wants to introduce some NFTs.
yeah. What
Dr.
the fuck
Disrespect
was
was talking about like the promise of NFTs and digital collectibles, and he was calling.
He's like
people-
making a game too.
and he was calling interesting, but he was calling people brain dead for saying, "Oh, it's all a scam." Like you can't. I forget the exact wording of the tweet. I can't be bothered to look at it, but the point being, like he's challenging the big narrative that NFTs and crypto are a scam, and he's getting on board. He's a big gamer. He's a big voice.
I don't understand. As someone who plays a shit ton of video games, I don't understand. I understand the idea of why people hate NFTs, but I just didn't think the backlash would be that big.
People don't like change. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the way it's presented. Hey,
It just
do you
felt
want
so
this
natural
NFT? Do you
to
want
me
this
as a gamer.
non-fungible token? If you're a gamer, how does that sound versus do you want this exclusive digital collectible for this Pokemon game that'll live with your person forever and you can bring it to any Pokemon game in the future that we ever make? What sounds more exciting?
Yeah.
Right, like the latter, because it's more integrated. It flows with the ecosystem of the game, and people actually give a fuck about the game, and so they'll play, and they give a fuck about what they're receiving. But NFTs feel forced to a lot of people. NFTs feel greedy. People already have a distrust for the gaming industry with respect to, I suspect, with respect to like how corporate profit, corporate greed, and like Activision, for example, in Call of Duty is just wrecking themselves with reshipping the same product over, and like people get tired of it. And
Just do something was probably started from the gaming world.
Yeah,
now that we think
I'm
about
sure.
it.
But like, yeah, it's essentially that. It's all about how it's framed, and it really level with people and like the baggage that comes with introducing a new idea when so many people reject it. Because At the end of the day, if they're rejecting money, if they're rejecting something that's truly good for them and then truly promises something cool and unique, it'll be there and there will be demand. But if you try to shove it down their throats, like, of course they're going to resist. I don't know.
Yeah. The final things I wanted to talk about were, we were texting about it a bit, about the whole Polygon Solana situation. Because I've been saying this for weeks. I think Matic is a complete shit chain. I think it's because I put this out there on the last episode we did, and I was like, this thing, because he doesn't love Polygon, but he's a significant fan, and I was like, there's no, to me, because I remember like in the Ethereum community that when everyone was on chain and everything was getting clogged up, classic Ethereum things, fucking like their sidechain was completely clogged. It literally just fell over like a million times.
Yikes.
And it's like they do like a few instances of like business development with Starbucks and Google, and everyone's like, oh yeah, they're the face of Ethereum for the real world. Like they're gonna bring the real world to Ethereum. They're not even gonna know that they're using Ethereum.
They cut fat checks to those guys, didn't they? I'm not sure what the actual value exchanged was. I don't really know. I'm ignorant.
I don't know either, and I don't think anyone knows. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think a lot of people know what the real relationship is.
They hear partnership,
I
and they hear credibility, essentially.
Yeah, and I was when we were in Colombia for DevCon. There was like a Polygon guy there, and he was like, Ollie was trying to explain the Starbucks deal to me, and it didn't really make any sense why they would use it. Like it was like they're gonna build the whole infrastructure of their rewards points using Polygon instead of what they use now, because it's going to cut their employee headcount by a certain amount. And I feel like if everyone heard that as that was the deal, instead of we're partnering with Starbucks and that's it, people would be like, okay, like, what does that do? Like, what does that do for anyone? Like, they're really, it's like pretty shit of a partnership. And then I saw that they made like an L2 for Solana, and they're making a ZK EVM.
L2
and they're making
for Solana, what's it called?
I sent it to you. I forget what it was called.
Are you talking about Jump Fire Dance or something?
No, it was, what was it called? Eclipse. Yeah.
I have not
They're
heard
launching
of that
a
at all.
Polygon SVM, a layer 2 capable of running all smart contracts and tooling compatible with Solana. So basically any dApp that's built for Solana can easily migrate or go multi-chain to Polygon Solana virtual machine.
Okay.
I don't think it's tied to Ethereum at all. It's just tied to Polygon. But it's just, it felt like it feels like to me that they're doing so much shit. And then a few weeks after I texted you that, it came out that they had to fire like 15% of their staff. They burned through
Polygon,
141.
right? Yeah, I know.
They burned like through $150 million worth of their cash already in 1 year.
Yep.
And I'm like, this fucking thing is trash. Like, this thing is trash. And they might come out with a good ZK EVM, but holy shit, is this thing trash? And so I was wondering, I feel like I know your perspective already, but also, what don't I know from that situation that the Solana world is like talking about?
In terms of Frank DeGods and him trying to move DeGods to ETH and Utes to Matic, I personally observe, and I'm not in the Discord, I only see Twitter presence, and I see pretty distant takes from people just spewing their opinions about DeGods and that whole ecosystem. So that's the source of my knowledge, so take that as you will. But what I've seen is basically DeGod maxis are like, yeah, Utes are the best, Polygon's the best, yeah, bring culture, yeah, awesome. I feel like most people are like, why are you moving to Polygon? ETH makes a little bit more sense in terms of attracting more mature liquidity, so to speak. So like people that have Bored Apes or Punks, you trade and buy your DeGods in an instant, essentially, without having to bridge between chains, which is cool in terms of if you think you're worthy of. Anyone can move whenever they want, but there has to be...
I feel like those guys would have bridged over to Solana. They're not like, the Bored Ape holders are a really dumb crowd, and they lose their NFTs like a million times over.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But I feel like they're smart enough to go on Coinbase, buy Sol, and go on Magic Eden.
It's not about being smart,
whatever.
though. It's about friction. If you've never done it before, how likely are you to do it versus if you've already done it?
Yeah, but
versus if it's the same ETH.
But what's his name? Frank was talking in a space about, or on a YouTube video about a Polygon and Utes, and he was talking about the idea of, for instance, if you are a Game of Thrones fan, you're buying an HBO subscription. If
Sure.
you're basing it off that one show, and people are going to base their activity on Polygon for Utes. That's his thesis. So I'm like, how are you going to say that and not expect people that want DGOT's exposure or DGOT's holding to not just go to Solana? It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. I think part of his vision is to grow his brand's multi-chain and to be omnipresent, so to speak, in a couple of different areas. And I guess he looked at Matic and he was like, this has potential. Definitely ETH
There's
makes
no
sense,
way.
but yeah, I don't
For
know.
Matic, as an ETH maxi guy, I'm telling you, there's no way. There had to have been a check of some kind.
And that's why I'm saying that most of the people that support that Matic move are Utes or DGOD's maxis, and they're Frank maxis, and they support whatever he does. And for what it's worth, he's given a lot of reasons to support him almost blindly into things that he does, because he's this young ass kid running this massively successful NFT project so far. And
Did you watch
he's had a
that
couple
run up?
cool visions. And what do you mean?
DGOD's. I know you
Yeah.
were part of Utes. You run the Utes list. I saw that on your Twitter
Yeah,
a
dump my
bit.
tube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I dumped it as soon as I got it, pretty much.
But what was that run like? Was it like?
People
So I
just
know he
talked
was
about
anonymous.
It, dude. Frank
and, like,
just kept making fucking marketing stunts, man. He would post one thing that was like slightly controversial, and all of Twitter would go crazy for it. They would be like, "This is shit. This is the dumbest thing you've ever done. Like, dust emissions to zero. Like, DGODs to zero. You guys don't build anything."
Was there
it's
like a
just
0 to 1 innovation that he brought that no one else was bringing?
more like a cultural, like, I can make you feel something if you're part of this group kind of thing. Which,
Yeah.
fuck, if you can bring
That's what's
fun
up.
experiences to an NFT project, you win, right? And
Yeah.
you win, right?
What were
if
those
you can give your holders fun experiences, which is one. And again, I've never held a DGOT, so I
Yeah.
can't speak too accurately. But from what I've observed, it was
Like,
you
in
had
real-
so much hype. And so as a DGOTS holder, you felt like you were already a part of this exclusive list that was getting this cool new NFT. Which is, first of all, it's hard to dilute your collection and still maintain value.
Yeah.
And Frank did that quite well, which was really impressive. But then there was the dust, which is decently valuable for a while. And there were these dead gods that you had to pay like a couple thousand dust to transcend it from the old art to the new art, which was cool. And then I remember he gave this offering that you can buy a rug for a certain amount of dust, and it ended up being like the USD equivalent of $2,000. So you'd pay $2,000 for a rug, which is like a pretty funny joke for a lot of people. But some people were outraged when he offered it. Some people were like, "Yeah, you're just here to have fun, dude."
Like
And
a physical rug?
Yeah, physical rug.
Oh my
Physical
god.
merch. Yeah, it's cool, right? But $2,000 for it. But in terms of dust, if you're just a holder and you're like, I just want to have fun with my fucking NFTs, then you go buy it because you have enough dust from staking your Magic Internet NFT to get this magical token to
Yeah.
buy cool shit that you care. Like, it's the fact that it was controversial and that people had so many differing, violent, aggressive takes about it, emotionally charged takes. In my opinion, his ability to do that over and over, Utes list, the rug, the dead god transition, the dust emissions to zero, like, these were all things that people talked about and they cared about, whether they were a part of it or not. And just that constant exposure, that constant reiteration of this is what DGODs are doing, like it or not. Some people are in favor, some people are not. Like, people cared at the end of the day, and because people cared, it raises the ceiling of not only who knows about your project, but who cares about it. And the more people you have caring, the more volume you can attract. So
Yeah.
I think he's done that masterfully well. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just want the record to be known that I'm also actively short Matic, and I will be until it's 20 cents. But yeah.
For what it's worth, my personal take, I think the Matic move is, like, I want to call it dumb, but it's so early to really say it's dumb. Like, it's just a move. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care at the end of the day. If you think you can do cool shit on Matic, go do it. And if you don't do it, the market will decide that you didn't do it, and they will dump.
A
That's what it
good
is.
sign for them is the fact that Magic Eden is even like going on there, but that could also just be a check out of the $150 million pot. So.
Oh, you mean with Polygon NFTs and shit? They also
Yeah.
hold the ETH NFTs, right?
Who, Magic Eden?
Yeah. They support ETH
Do they?
trading as well. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know that.
And
Yeah.
they're a business. Like, the whole goal is to capture more market share, and if they can do that just by adding more chains, and if they have the development tech to do it, then why not, right?
Yeah. And
But so many people hated on Magic Eden for it for a while, which is funny.
yeah. Is there anything happening on Solana that you want to not shill, but enlighten the Ethereum maxis on close?
DeGods will
Shit for us to search on Twitter.
DeGods will keep running, in my opinion. Klano's making their shot at a Marvel animation studio type thing that people could really care about, these cute little characters. So that's its own vibe, and I'm sure it's for some people. It actually, in terms of like long-term bets that you can make on Sol, it's one of the few that's probably not a bad idea. Utes, everyone knows. Galactic Geckos had a big pump. So they're this big OG project that stuck around for a while, and they accumulated for months and months. And a couple days ago, they had a pretty big run-up, like 40 to 60% or something crazy. And it was cool to see an OG project get recognition in the space. And you see now, like watching Geckos pump to 63. And I'm like, okay, that's around the ceiling for the mid to high tier project in terms of floor price and what people are willing to pay. Klano's in the same area. Elixir NFT is their own automated market maker, so they have an AMM and holders get benefits somehow. They have a 21 Sol floor price. OK Bears, I still don't know what they're doing. I feel like most people don't, but they're brandable.
They had a shot there.
They had a shot, but
They
like,
had
what
a
do you do with
shot.
that shot? What lands? What can you possibly do that's gonna make everyone excited for the next thing that's gonna come up with them, and then do it again?
I think it's the character that Frank became, the figure behind the project.
The figure behind the project.
Like in
I think-
Ethereum world, it's like Vitalik.
That's true. That's true.
Anything he says, like anytime
for
he's
good
on
reason.
a podcast,
Motherfucker's
yeah,
smart, dude.
yeah, definitely. He's a little different than Frank, I feel, but in their own worlds, I feel like I understand, because I feel like I wasn't paying attention to the ecosystem on Solana NFTs probably as well, but OK Bears I felt could have been like punks on Solana if they
Could have
like,
been, but it's
or
so
like
hard, dude.
apes.
To create consistent demand and to actually do shit that people care about and expand your collection in a meaningful way that's non-dilutive, it's a really big task to undertake. And to have the market decide they care more about it than they did yesterday, which means
Yeah.
you have to be iterating on the next thing already. And that's something that I've observed Frank is quite good at, is once one thing is done, he's on to the next thing. It's brewing, is building in the process, and within a few weeks or month and some odd days, like, people are talking about him again. And he wins again,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
sense that people give a shit. And
I feel like
That's
sometimes
really cool.
so people want him to win though. Like people like him so much, or people
he's proven
like
himself
his
to some
character.
extent. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think like you can easily relate or gravitate to his. I did.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I was like, this guy's cool. Like this guy's fun. This guy's doing something cool. And
Yeah.
I'm like years late from the Ethereum, or months late from the Ethereum world.
Sure.
And it still like clicks.
Yeah.
And so if you tell me who OK Bears CEO or representative is, no fucking idea. You're my OK Bears representative.
Fuck no. Oh, no, I'm good. Yeah.
That's the only like that's the only connection like I can make. So
Usually a couple, 100% notable leaders. It's funny. The more I've really resonated with like what a floor price is, how much someone is willing to spend for this project, for this particular NFT of this project. What it really, I have a different relationship to it now. It used to mean just money. Now it means energy to me. Money is a reflection of energy. How much
Yeah.
energy is the market collectively willing to put into DeGods to see what they're about, to join the cult, and pay for the next one if they feel so inclined? And it's the same thing with Utes and Klano and Galactic Geckos. Like, these are projects that the market has decided they care about, they want to see more from, and so they've invested more energy, money, so to speak, into it because they either believe you can get more return or they just want it. And compare that to all the rug projects that are worth 0.0001 Sol and haven't had a
Yeah.
sale in the past like 6 years. There's zero energy, there's zero attention moving through it, and this game is such an attention game. It's such a life game. It needs life, and it needs to attract more life. And
Do you think you ever step out? You've heard of the NFT fi narrative, the taking borrowing against NFTs, levering up on
That's
it.
huge on Sol. That's huge on Sol. Yeah. You actually had an edge on the market if you had your finger on the pulse for which projects are way over leveraged. Because I had one friend that, he lent out like some dual bots. I don't know if you heard what those are, but it was like a community rewards program for this casino on Solana. So he bought a few. They pumped like crazy. He knew the top wasn't in yet. He took loans against other things. He bought more dual bots cheap. He sold high. He still had so many of them in escrow that he was doing fine on. And that behavior can predict how far a floor will crash once the interest is gone, or once people decide, oh, it's time to take profits. No one's buying here. This isn't the real floor. It's an artificially held floor, so to speak, because there's so many off market, so many being loaned out, so many are staked, so many people are waiting for the next 20 Sol increase to get their exit, and it's an ugly game that people play. But you have to be aware of, especially in Sol, dude, just the degenerate behavior of so many of these these players, these consumers. Like, gotta have a finger on the pulse of what the lending market is looking like if you want to have a sense of whether the floor is going to crash, timing the top, etc., etc.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. This was fun.
That was fun. That was fun, dude.
That.
I haven't done a podcast on Riverside in years.